Thanks for checking out Chamber Web TV. This is Cambridge Votes 2014, a conversation with the candidates for the municipal election on October 27th. I'm Brian Butcher, I'm Vice President of the Chamber, and today it's my pleasure to sit down with Kristine Dearlove, candidate for City Council in Ward 4. Kristine?
Nice to meet you.
Welcome. It's the election is actually here now.
It is.
The date has come and gone.
Only a few hours ago.
It's time to stick the signs in the lawn and knock on the doors.
Continue knocking on the doors.
Continue knocking on the doors. You've been out there doing that already?
Absolutely. That's
Great.
the fun
That's great.
stuff.
Yep, got to get a good start at it. So, and in your ward, there's 6 candidates, I believe.
Something like
now.
that, yeah. There's a lot of people.
And no incumbent, which puts a little bit different face on things. Are you having fun?
I love it. I'm a talker by trade. I'm a social worker here in the region, so I like talking to people, and this is a good excuse to talk to more than my neighbors. It talks to everybody throughout the ward. It's huge.
And that's
it's
key.
Great
That's
to
key.
talk to everyone.
And you've got a big ward. You've got a lot of doors.
There are lots of doors.
Yeah.
It's different people. I've got lots of people who haven't chatted with politicians before. We have lots that have hear the questions and they already knew exactly what they wanted to ask. It's really kind of neat to have to chat with such a wide variety of folks.
And it helps to focus your own opinion. It helps to even mold it and then change it probably in some cases as well.
It gives me information that I didn't have before. I thought I knew lots. I thought I had a pretty good concept of Cambridge as a whole, the region as a whole, but they're filling in some of the blanks and some pieces that I really wasn't completely aware of.
Yeah.
So that's great. I mean, I like learning new things. I like listening. So it's neat to figure out how I can help in any number of different ways.
So that maybe leads into my first question.
Okay.
Why are you running?
Well, I've worked I grew up here. I was born in Waterloo Region, or in Cambridge, in the ward. I moved back here after university. I've been working in the housing stability sector, so I work with people trying to find housing, keep their housing, move into subsidized housing, and now move into home ownership. So I know the systems and what people are struggling with, and I also have a pretty good concept of all that different layers of government and how each
And
decision.
there are a lot of layers of government.
And each decision that's made at each layer, it trickles down to that doorstep. It trickles down to the cities. And the cities get to figure out how to implement all of these other decisions where it matters most to people. It matters at our doorsteps. It matters as we're driving to work and as we're getting the paper. So I really it's sort of a continuation of the ability to help people that I've been able to do through work and my volunteer work. This is just another step in that. So I can try to figure out how to make Cambridge the best place for everyone, and in order to get everyone engaged in making those decisions that make Cambridge the best place to be. So it's just sort of that natural evolution of everything I've been doing since, well, pretty much I was born.
Well, and there's no doubt that
leaning
at the
towards
municipal
this.
level is where it's really feet on the ground. It's where you can really work directly with people and help them out.
Exactly, and
Okay.
that's the stuff I like.
So what do you see as the biggest issue facing Cambridge and every other municipality in Ontario today?
The biggest issue, I think, is going to be finding that harmony between revenue and expenses, really and truly. So everyone has increased demands on their pocketbooks. So from all levels of governments have increased demands, and all individuals have increased demands of what we've got to spend. We also have increased demands of what we need to use to make Cambridge a vibrant and livable community. And what we need to do is be good stewards of those revenues, but we also need to be good stewards of the future. And I think if we can focus on being good stewards of the future, so making Cambridge and Waterloo Region as a whole, because it's all very much interconnected, inclusive, vibrant, and thriving community, we have that bold vision and a long-term plan. So we need, Cambridge and all municipalities need to be putting that long-term thinking with intentional planning and the connectedness into coming up with a big, bold vision for their community, so for Cambridge. So strong people, that means everything from housing to transit to neighborhoods to strong environment, so our 4 Rs, water resources, our urban trees, and making it easy for people to be healthy. And with the connections, so connections with each other, with the different departments, with different levels of government, we can pull that into a bold vision. We're hoping in a long-term plan, I think we can really truly be good stewards of the future. And if we're good stewards of the future, if we're all working together for that, I think we'll find the harmony with that other side of that equation of being good steward with our resources.
It is a
and
complicated web to weave, though, isn't it?
It
Bringing
is.
everything, all the components together.
And I like using, and I use the word harmony deliberately because it's not a balance. If you have balance, things fall off, or it's people lose, things lose,
Yeah.
and it's not, that's the harmony. They have to work together. And I think we can do that if we keep a focus on the future and building a good future for everyone. Then being a good steward of the revenues will just follow.
Yeah, hopefully. Okay, so you said you've been out knocking on doors. So what do you see as the biggest issue facing your ward, Ward 4?
We really and truly, in Ward 4, it's huge, and there's sort of lots of different places, but I think having a vibrant downtown core is truly the biggest issue. If we have if we put innovative and strategic planning towards the downtown core, all the surrounding areas will be better because of it. The downtown, having a strong downtown, is the backbone of a strong local economy. A strong local economy means that shared prosperity for everyone. So we need to really recognize and respect and honor the entrepreneurs that we have. We need to recognize the creative workers that we have, the knowledge-based workers. So the ones that are changing the way we do things, the ones that have the new markets and the new ideas. We need to engage the business community meaningfully. We also need to engage the residents meaningfully and everyone that uses the downtown core, which is all of us, not just Ward 4, but it's all of us in Cambridge, uses all of our downtown cores, so that, because they need to be walkable, they need to be shady, they need to be bikeable, they need to be accessible for everyone. We need to have transit to get there, we need to have parking spaces for people to get there. It all needs to work together, and that connectedness of we have that meaningful engagement with business and residents and I hate the word end users, but everybody else that's there.
Yeah.
If we have that meaningful connectedness and engagement, then the city can lead the way with that. We can encourage that. We can make that happen. We can facilitate that meaningful engagement. We can make sure that all of the city departments work together so that they're making decisions for the best interest of everyone and not
Over
little
the
pieces
long
here
term.
and not little pieces there. With that, again, that long-term thinking, that long-term vision, that we have the strong people and the strong environment and the connectedness with everyone.
Yeah, I've
That's
always
our
kind of
biggest
felt
piece.
the cores have to be an entertainment spot. They have to be an attraction in and of themselves, not because I'm going to do one thing, but because I'm going to do something. It's natural for me to gravitate down to. You want to go out for dinner? You
Go
don't
downtown.
need to talk about where, like what restaurant. You just head there, and
You
there's life
figure out
there.
what spot has a place on the patio, who has reservations available. If it's walkable and shady and bikeable and easy for people to park, and if all of that works together, and that's all different departments making different plans for the best interest of everyone, we're all going to use the downtown more.
Yeah, and I think in this isolated world, people still want to be with people. They still want to,
Absolutely.
whether they're sitting talking to them or whether there's just activity, just things happening.
And that is that backbone of that strong local economy, and I think that makes all the difference in the world. So that's the biggest thing that we need to focus on, and I think that's just everybody figuring out how to work together, getting rid of the silos, getting rid of their own individual interests, and pushing that rope up the same hill together. I think we can do that.
I think we can too. Honestly, the chamber is, well, we're nonpartisan, but we're hoping for people who have some big, bold ideas to lead our community over the next 4 years. Do you feel like you've got some big, bold ideas that you want to champion?
I do, but it sounds so simple. It's really and truly, I think, and if you want to use the word strong connections or engagement or whatever that language best suits what you want, suits yourself, it's that connections. We need to have better connections as a community. We need to have better engagement with everybody that's here. I mean, a genuine democracy works best with a thoughtful and an engaged electorate. So we need everyone in Cambridge to work to figure out what that vision is, to have that common agenda. Then that common agenda leads to the collaboration. So if the common agenda is a vibrant downtown, if it's that simple, or if it's that bigger with that being good stewards of the future, so strong people and environments and connections. We can figure out how to get those meaningful connections with everyone, bring the conversation to where people are already at. People aren't, they're busy. And it kind of leads to thoughts on transit and go, but people are busy. So bring the conversations to where they already are. So if people are already gathering at the community center, bring it there. If people are already gathering at the Y, if they have time for leisure activities, bring the conversations to where people are so they can participate in these conversations. Meaningfully engage the business community. Don't send out surveys, don't ask a few and extrapolate from there. Chat with folks, and chat with folks when they have time to talk to you. And so that we can get more people connected, get more people engaged. We also need to do that as city staff. So break down the silos of the different departments and encourage the collaboration and the connectedness so that everyone's making decisions that meets the needs of the community, and doing that together. And people work really well when there's open dialogue and common agendas. We have a learning environment here already in Waterloo Region. We have research, we have universities, we already foster that. So let's continuously communicate with everybody and bring that conversation in meaningful ways and languages that people can get to everyone. And I think that's the biggest, boldest idea. It's if we have an engaged community, people are connected, they're all going to be walking together to figure out how to have those vibrant downtowns. They're going to want to participate in the different parades and the unsilent nights and the outdoor movies. People will be able to do that because they'll know about it. They'll be much more connected. They'll be chatting at the patios. They'll be walking the dogs together to the mailboxes. It's all kind of neat.
I'm glad you
That's what I
I'm
like.
glad you used the term connected and you talk about moving people, because it's a great segue into my next question. You may or may not know, I think most people know that the Chamber was opposed to the LRT, particularly because Cambridge has to pay a full share of the LRT, and yet we don't get the full service. We don't get the service of the LRT. However, that battle is done. It is what it is. But maybe there's some hope that Cambridge, with a little bit of vision and out-of-the-box thinking, there's a way that we can bring the LRT to Cambridge sooner. There's the challenges of ridership. You don't get government support until you have the ridership, and we're not there. I'm just wondering, how would you propose moving the community forward towards LRT in the best interest of the community?
The interesting thing with the LRT is it's a transit plan, so that's the basic of it. It's that shiny little train that's going to go from A to B. It's also a community plan, and I really like the way the region has sort of 8 strategies or 8 pieces that are adjacent or working at the same time as that one piece of transit that's going to be going from A to B. It's investing in infrastructure. It is greening the neighborhoods. It's a high quality urban places. There's all of that as well, which I believe, or the way it's written, is that all parts of that route will be the focus of all of those 8 pieces throughout construction. So we won't be getting absolutely nothing until they finally put our shovels in the ground. I'm hoping that the way the plan is written, that all those different pieces of community building will be happening at the same time as all that construction. So that bigger picture is really quite cool, and I hope that doesn't get lost in just putting the train on the ground. That part's kind of neat, and I like some of the ideas that they have with that.
Yeah, but we don't just want it to go from A to B, we want it to go to C as well.
We want it to be much bigger,
Yeah.
yes. I also think what can't get lost is a focus on that transit corridor is realizing that there's large parts of Cambridge that are not easily accessible to the service we've got right now. And that's not okay. That could be very well why we don't have the numbers to show that people are going from A to B.
It's just too hard.
It
on
is
transit.
really, really hard. There's neighborhoods where me walking, and I'm fairly able, and when I wear appropriate shoes, I can move quite quickly. It takes forever to go from this one house to the next bus stop, or you're crossing extremely busy roads,
Yeah.
very far away from safe crosswalks. That's not okay. So we need to make sure that we can bring those stories. So as city council, we don't get to make a lot of those decisions at the city level. Those decisions are made at these other levels of government. But if we have those strong connections with those other levels, it'll be easier to make good Cambridge-focused decisions. But as a city councillor, I'm the one that people are comfortable talking to. They can come to me, they can find me in a variety of ways and say, here's my story. When the snow is this high, my walker and I cannot get to the bus, which means we can't do A, B, and C. We need to make sure that the transit corridor isn't the only focus, that people can get to where they need to go in a safe and an efficient way. If we make transit safe and we make it efficient so people can get where they need to go, then they're going to use it. And I think we can demonstrate by collecting the stories of who wants to use transit. I would much rather not have to drive to Waterloo every day, especially in bad weather. That's not any fun.
Mm-hmm.
Let it be on transit. Let it be so like more, safer route to get from A to where I need to go every day. I would use it if it's safe and efficient.
Well, and regardless of who's got the power, the conversation has to start somewhere.
And we need to gather the stories. And I think it's people's stories. It's those, yes, there might only be 15 people in that neighborhood that needs to use that bus to get to the grocery store, but guess what? They're important. And here's their story. So let's bring those stories to the decision makers so that it's not just a dollars and cents at the moment decision. It's not just a ridership decision. These are people's lives. And we need to make sure that things are accessible and efficient, and we're meeting their needs. That's our job.
Perhaps leading right into the same question. There's been much news about GO service. KW has limited one in the morning, one in the afternoon, one to Toronto in the morning, one back in the afternoon service. But the Premier has committed to two-way all-day GO service for Kitchener. Cambridge has a good case. It's a substantially lower cost to do GO from Cambridge to Toronto. If we had GO service in Cambridge, do you think we should? But if we had GO service in Cambridge, what benefits do you think this might have for Cambridge? Or if you oppose the initiative, then what's your thinking?
Oh, it's a brilliant idea. Absolutely. So it's an excellent idea for Cambridge. It's an excellent idea for the region. If we can figure out a cost-effective, efficient way to get people from where they are living to where they are working, makes perfect sense to me. People who commute into the GTA sacrifice a huge amount of their lives in order to make that work. They're missing meals, they miss family time, they miss connected time with their significant others. They don't have time for the leisure activities. Volunteering falls off, engaging in the community falls off, because everything like that is being sacrificed for that commute. It takes forever. If we can make that easier, we're going to significantly improve the quality of life for a number of people in Cambridge and in the region. That's a huge thing. It's hard to put a quantitative number on that. It's just going to be fundamental to those families and those individuals. It also, I think, having regular GO to the GTA is going to make it easier and safer for people to get there and explore that part of Ontario. If it's simple and easy, and you don't have to worry with the 401 or finding parking when you get there, people are going to go there more often and explore everything that place has to offer, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's not only about people going to work.
It's people using it for leisure. It's going to the baseball games and the art gallery and the zoo and just exploring around and taking the subway. It's fantastic. But it will also open up people that live in Toronto to get them outside of their city and get them to our region and see all the wonderful things we have here. We're a great community, and when we start talking about Cambridge and all the cool things that we do here, more people will see that if they can get here and they can get home. It would be fantastic on all sorts of levels.
Especially with your visions for the cores.
I think it's going to be hard, though, and that's always a hard conversation.
Never easy.
We need to have a consistent voice at those tables who make those decisions, that know Cambridge, that know our stories, that know the unique contributions we have, and then that just has to have those connections with those layers of government and those decision makers.
Okay, Kristine, can you give me in a nutshell where you see Cambridge in 25 years?
I really, truly, I keep coming back to that connected, but I see Cambridge as people are more connected to their neighbors, they're more connected to the government's more connected to everybody here in Cambridge, and we're more connected to all those other layers that make all those other decisions that filter down to our doorsteps. I see us as people working together for that, stewarding our future. and making Cambridge a vibrant community and people participating in that and enjoying that. So that strong local economy, those vibrant downtowns, those thriving neighborhoods, so that people are working together to live together. They want to work here, they live here, they play here. People will be much more, Cambridge is sort of where we can do all of that and make it easy and safe and accessible. That's where I see Cambridge going. And just people much more excited about all of it.
So speaking about excited, I'm kind of excited because for the first time in Cambridge this year, we have the ability to vote online or by telephone. And we can also go and stand at the poll and mark our paper ballot as always. But I think that this has the potential to dramatically increase voter participation.
Absolutely.
The sheer convenience of it will probably mean a lot more people will take the plunge and
Absolutely.
vote, maybe for the first time. So what do you think of the whole idea of online and telephone voting?
I don't think these decisions were made lightly, so I think people have thought about all of the possible risks and things that could go wrong.
Security concerns.
I'm fairly confident that all of those types of concerns have already been figured out. It's going to really bring voting to where people are at. So it's like bringing those conversations to where people are at, so those big ones. It's going to bring voting to where people are at. It's going to make it easier for those who are extremely busy and can't figure out how to fit that into their day, which I think we all should and we all need to, but it slips. I think it's going to make it easier for those who can't get out and who have that accessibility issues, who may not be able to get to the polling stations where they are, even when as much as we try to make them close to where people are at. I think it's going to give people that immediate, oh yeah, we have to vote, an election's coming up, let me do that now before I forget. And I think that's going to open up a huge new doors. I really do. People who have said they've never voted before are like, wow, I can do that now? And I'm like, yes.
I think you'll see a lot of that. I really do. Okay, we're just about done. Before we wrap up, is there anything that you'd like to say to your constituents?
This is just kind of who I am. I believe that Cambridge can have strong people. We can have that strong connection to the environment, that strong commitment to the environment, and we can have strong connections to each other. And that's what I want to push forward. That's what I want to do. And that's just
Kristine, thank you. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this today. And I wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you.
And I'd like to remind you folks that you can vote on October 27th at the polls as you normally have, or from October 11th to 25th, you can go online or by telephone. All you need is your voter card that'll come in the mail, and you'll be all set to vote. Please exercise your right. Thanks, Kristine.
Thank you. That was great.